Hello and welcome back to part 5 of our Football Manager 2024 save with Ipswich with the 2024-25 season update, which places Ipswich in the Premier League, which is exactly where they are in real life. If you didn't watch the last episode, which came out last night at 6 PM, I really recommend you go and watch that. This serves as a second part to that episode, hence why we haven't got the normal 3-day gap between episodes. This coming out just 24 hours after the last episode, which was a relegation 6-pointer against Everton. Today, we have our second relegation 6-pointer at home at Portman Road once again against Steve Cooper's Leicester. We have played one game since then. We've had a trip to Anfield, and here are a few quick highlights of that trip to face Arne Slot's Liverpool. Liverpool playing their normal 11. Mohamed Salah back in. Darwin Núñez dropped. Salah needed a rest before the start of the game. I checked that the day before the game and it said Salah needed a rest, but Salah is starting, which makes our job even harder than it could have been. 13% of the ball in the first 10 minutes. That's a panicking sign if ever I saw one. Wow. You're not going to argue with that. That is an absolute whopper from Mo Salah. So we get the ball out, unsuccessfully. And if there's two players you don't want the ball to fall to, it's Trent and then Mo Salah. I mean, Muric hasn't been great this season, but no, you're not going to stop that. Foul. That looked a bit harsh, that did. Certainly wasn't a sliding challenge going in there. But the penalty's been given anyway. Diaz impeded by Harry Clark. This could be a long day, this could, at Anfield. The Ipswich fans behind the goal. Mo Salah puts it away. That's 2 in the first 20 minutes. We didn't expect to get anything out of this game, but even so, Arne Slot is going to be a very happy man. Bournemouth 2-0 up as well at the King Power. Oh, that could be massive. 3-1 now. Plenty of goals in that first half. I think we go bottom if it ends like this. Wow. Totally defensively inept. Plenty of space for the Liverpool players. And if you're not going to be Mo Salah, then it's going to be Luis Diaz on the other wing. Muric beaten. Gets close, but not close enough. And this is just a different class of opposition. Decent start to the second half. 3 shots in 15 minutes. One of those on target. We've made 3 substitutions at half-time. Has that changed things a little? Leicester are back in the game as well at the King Power. Maybe Liverpool have stepped off the gas a little bit, but this second half has gone by in a trace. We'd take a 3-0, I think, at this point. Full time then at Anfield. We couldn't get anywhere near them. But, most crucially, our second half was far better than the first. We weren't in the game at all at half time. I can't even see that XG. 0.1 at best, I would guess. But we got into the game a bit more. I think we had 1 shot. If we look at the first half, we had 2 shots, none of those on target. Second half, we had 7 shots, 1 on target. Our XG of 0.5. So our first half XG was 0.05. Interesting, less passes completed in the second half. It suggests that Liverpool had a similar amount of passes completed. Interestingly though, in terms of high intensity sprints, both sides had far more of those in the second half. So we played better, but Liverpool just one step above today. So as I alluded to at the end of that match, the first half was really poor, but we got into things a little bit more in the second half. Obviously being 3-0 down at half-time meant it was all over for us anyway. We can use all the excuses in the world. I talked about this early on. We've had to go in the first... It's 13 games we've played now. We've had to go away to Anfield, the Emirates. We've had to go to Old Trafford. We've had to play Brighton away, West Ham away, Tottenham away, Man City away. Probably I considered 7 of the top half teams in the league. We've had to go away from home and play them. And of course, we've got nothing out of any of those. And that isn't a shock. But in the last episode, to not get anything out of Everton was a real disappointment. And since then, we have not been helped in the league. We have dropped to the bottom of the table. And the reason for that is that Bournemouth picked up their first win. I alluded to it in the highlights there. I think that Bournemouth were ahead at the King Power Stadium. Despite Bournemouth going down to 10 men, they were 3-1 up at half-time at the King Power. And they held on to beat Leicester. And crucially, Leicester are the opponents that we are playing today at Portman Road. And although Leicester had a very good win against Newcastle at the start of November, they've tumbled off a bit. They've lost to Wolves, they've lost to Bournemouth, two sides that, considering their league placing and how well they've been doing, is a bit of a concern for Leicester. They've conceded 3 against Bournemouth, 4 against Liverpool, 4 against Arsenal, 4 against Chelsea. It seems that Leicester are a little bit leaky at the back. Now, given that we are the second worst in the league, Leicester have conceded only 2 less than us. So in theory, this should be goals galore, which is why I said in the last episode, no doubt it will be 0-0. But looking at the table, we have been helped out by some draws. Nottingham Forest have had 4 of those in a row now, which means that they've been steadily scoring points. The team with the most draws in the league, the second most draws with Man United as well on 7. They've been steadily climbing up, but Palace with 6 draws as well, Wolves with 6 draws, Forest with 7. We are being helped out massively by the fact that these teams are drawing. So today we need to go and win to keep us in this fight. I've said before about how we could get cut adrift quite easily. We're 5 points away from the drop. Again, if we lost today against Leicester, with some big games coming up as well. This weekend we have got Crystal Palace playing West Ham. West Ham aren't playing the best, so Palace could get something there. But I can't see Bournemouth getting anything out of Villa. Southampton have got Brentford again. Brentford have started well, but they could get something there. And you just simply never know. And this could either be, at the start of December, a springboard for a fantastic month. This month, although all the games are difficult, looks our best chance to get some form going and get some wins. We've got to play at home against Bournemouth as well. That is a game surely we'll be looking at winning. We've got to play against Palace, Wolves, all teams that are around us. Villa and Newcastle are going to be tricky, no doubt. But compare that run of games in December to the 3 we've got to play in January, City, Tottenham and Brighton. If we're not in the mix then I think we're really going to struggle. We then look into February at Forest, Brentford, West Ham and Southampton. If we don't do something then, I think it's all over. But you know what? I don't wish to exaggerate, and I have said this before, but I really believe it this time. I think if we go and lose today's game against Leicester, it could be one step too far. Leicester already, they've had a decent start, Leicester, and both Leicester and Southampton with 12 and 11 points respectively. And we know that Palace have got the potential. All of these sides are good sides. The Premier League is as good as it's ever been, making it more difficult for sides who come up to survive. And what's not going to make our job easier is that I've requested more wage budget from the board, and it's been rejected. Now, we have received £100,000 for, and actually it's gone up to £500,000 now. We have received £100,000 from Liam Gibbs going to Norwich and him playing so many games for Norwich. It's obviously not been recent, it's been in the last couple of weeks. And there have been a couple of players that I've been looking at on trial to bring into the club. Because we've got very little transfer budget, it's either the loan market or free transfers. 3 players that we're after. I think the bottom one is completely unrealistic with what he's asking for. Mark Albrighton is a player that we're after. We did go into contract negotiations with him. Top wage we could pay was 15k. Mark Albrighton's agent wanted 18. I wanted to go down even more than that to 13 or 12, just to give us a bit of flex to bring even another player in. A player very much getting on a bit, but you know what? Work rate, teamwork, all the elements he needs. He's got plenty of experience in the Premier League, probably a little bit past his best, but a 6-month contract would do perfectly. But the club just aren't allowing us to do that at the moment. Stuart Armstrong, he would come in and affect our midfield massively. Another player who's probably past his best, probably of Championship standard, but let's be fair, the rest of the team are probably only of Championship standard at best, most of the players anyway. And he's got plenty of experience both with Celtic in the Scottish Premiership and 5 seasons with Southampton in the Premier League. A player that we haven't looked to approach just yet, but one I'm very much looking in doing. And another one being Gerard Deulofeu, who looks a fantastic player if we can get things going. But he wants, I think it's something along the lines of nearly 30,000 a week. And considering we could only pay Mark Albrighton 18,000 a week, I don't think it's going to happen. So what we need to look at is generating money. Now, it's actually gone off, interestingly, but Leif Davis, although he's probably our best player, has been encouraged from some interest from Notts Forest. I think if he goes for 20 million, we then have some money to play with. Axel Tuanzebe is, again, not a player who's worth that much. He's got some interest from Spain. I have floated the idea of getting rid of Amari Hutchinson, a player who just hasn't done it for me so far. I think it's a year too early for him on Football Manager. You can see his stats are coming down, but he's worth 34 to 39 million according to the game. But he's only just joined the club, so I don't think anybody's going to be interested in him. So it's going to be very difficult to generate any money. But worrying about that later, we go into this game against Leicester. One of the teams that we came up with Southampton, with Leicester winning the Championship last year, we came up and we were close to Leicester in the Championship. This and the Southampton game are games we earmarked to go and win. Southampton have played well so far. We had the better of them at Portman Road. We need all the fans behind us. Our last game at Portman Road was that game against Everton. The fans walked out with 10 minutes to go. Whatever happens today, we cannot have that happen. The 3 o'clock games, we've got a couple of our relegation rivals to watch out for. Both Wolves and Palace are in action at home against West Ham and Newcastle. I don't expect Wolves to get anything against Newcastle, but West Ham being a bit of a yo-yo team, that's actually an El Sacico, the Palace and West Ham game. Both managers under pressure. I think, to be honest, West Ham, 5 points away from European football, only 7 points away from third place. It's incredibly harsh for them looking to potentially go and sack Julian Lopetegui, and Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth saved his job with a win over Leicester. Can we go and inflict 2 wins in 2, 2 defeats in 2 even, over Leicester? So the team today is Muric in goal, Ben Johnson, Tuanzebe, Wolfenden and Leif Davis at the back. Cameron Burgess is very close to coming back after his injury, but he's not quite fully fit yet, so Tuanzebe and Wolfenden are going to play. Leif Davis at left back, we've got him back in the side now as well. I've also made a move to get some leaders back in the side. And I dropped Sam Morsey a while ago because he played pretty poorly. He was dropped after the first half demolition at the London Stadium, and he's not been used since. He's going to make his comeback as a defensive midfielder today. It's a decision that is forced in a way because Calvin Phillips, before probably our biggest game of the season yet, has suffered a cold. So we've sent him home. I guess he could have played, but it's just not worth the risk. Sammy Schmodix and Luongo again. Luongo, a player who is a bit more of a leader, an older player, older boots, lots of experience in these kind of fixtures. Makes sense to play him today. And maybe Cameron Humphreys or Jack Taylor can come on in the second half and inflict some damage if needed. Liam Delap, a player I haven't really experimented with. He's going to play at right wing. Nathan Hort-Broadhead back in the squad. 75 minutes of action recommended for him, and Connor Chaplin is going to lead the line today. But crucially, we have got some decent backups on the bench if needed. George Hurst is also injured, so we're potentially going to go with Ali Al-Hamadi as our last straw to get something. If we can't get something in the first half against Leicester. Sam Morsey's pleased to be back in the team. I have crumbled to some of the pressures from the players. They were disappointed that Sam Morsey was dropped for the last game against Liverpool. He hasn't been in the team for a while, but I think the fact that he wasn't on the bench at all worried the players. But everybody is quite pleased with the team's mentality, the team that's been selected. Hopefully this is a better game for us today. 7 changes for Leicester. Jamie Vardy's out the side, so that takes some risk out of it for them. Although Stefan Mavididi, very good in defensive stats as well. They've got Jamie Vardy to bring on in the second half. They've got Bobby D. Cordova-Reid on the bench. I do rate Steve Cooper as a manager, but we need to go and win today. I'm going to point the finger. I expect nothing but a win. We have to put the pressure on the players today. We needed it against Everton, really. We needed to get something out of Everton, but 5 defeats on the bounce. We had the win against Southampton. That's been succeeded by those 5 defeats on the bounce. Leicester in better form than us. Leicester have got to be the favourites here, but this is a game at Portman Road. If we can't get anything out of this, I don't see what we're going to put, what game we're going to put any money on to win, to be honest. The pundits don't think we're going to get anything here, and that's not really much of a surprise, given our recent form. We started the game very well with 80% of possession, and we are controlling things in the early stages here. That is good to see. A couple of early shots. An early goal would do us wonders. In the first 10 odd minutes, we've had most of the ball. We've had more of the match momentum. The game very much being played in the midfield. I'm going to go early and I'm going to go positive here. Just to see if we can get something early against Leicester. We have had a lot of the ball so far, but a corner for Leicester. Vestergaard with the early goal against the run of play. And we didn't need that. I'm going to encourage the players because, in fairness, we have had most of the possession, which is something we've rarely had. With the team, we've had most of the ball. We haven't done a lot with it. That is really poor from Muric. Really poor. Straight at him, and he puts it into his own net. Again, we've still had the most of the possession, but Leicester, with that confidence coming back into the game, they've actually had the most possession now. Half an hour in here at Portman Road. We have had 4 shots, none of them on target, crucially. Leicester have had less shots than us, but 3 of those on target. Can we make something happen? Southampton are winning, that's crucial. Liam Delap on the edge of the box, shoots, and I nearly raised my clenched fist because I thought that Liam Delap had curled it round the post, but we are having shots. We're just not making them count. 7 shots is probably one of the highest figures we've had before half-time this season. I was leading myself into a speech there of, well, you know what, if we're going to go 2-0 down, then we can't do a lot. 8 shots, none of them on target. Crucially though, Connor Chaplin, a 7 out of 10. I'm going to say to the players, look, we're doing well getting shots away, keep it up. That's all I can really say at the moment. We are going to be balanced going into half-time. I don't want to come out of the blocks and give Leicester another goal. We've got to be a bit cagey for these first 15 minutes. Bobby D. Cordova-Reid comes on for Leicester. That is big for them. But we've had 10 shots. Crucially, 11 now. None of them on target. 11. It just keeps going up. We've had none on target. 12. Finally. Finally, our first shot on target. Just to make things interesting, I'm going to go to extended highlights for the final half an hour here at Portman Road. It looks like Connor Chaplin's having a good day. It's too early, I think, to bring on two strikers. Sammy Schmodik's very frustrated. That's a surprise. We're going to bring on Jack Taylor for Luongo. Because he's done a good job for us so far this year. We're going to move Schmodix and Taylor around. Put Schmodix in that more advanced role. We're going to put him as a deep lying playmaker on support. Just try and make something with this game. And then Nathan Broadhead, we are going to bring... Do we bring Al Hamadi on for him? Do we give him a try at left wing? I mean, he's got a lot of pace. Trouble is, his crossing's not great. But we're going to do something with Al Hamadi and see what Al Hamadi can offer us. He's a player that we haven't used too much. We're going to take our passing to be a bit more direct. Pass into space. And see if Connor Chaplin can get us back into this tie here at Portman Road. The numbers all seem to suggest we should be at least equal with Leicester here. But the scoreline doesn't lie either. We are behind. Are we going to go 2 behind? Muric saves that. Can we get up the pitch now? Or is it going to be the end of the highlight? It's going to be the end of the highlight. But very soon after, we are up the pitch. Johnson into the area. Doesn't do anything with it. Al Hamadi, it's going to be his first game of the season. Can he come on and do something? Delap, doesn't quite happen. D. Cordova-Reid, we've got to get that ball. We've got to challenge for that ball. Come on, put your foot in. Oh, that's poor from Sammy Schmodix. Morsey wins the ball back well. Al Hamadi runs through, keeps running into the area. Shoot! He should have just squared it. He should have just squared it to Connor Chaplin. But the signs are promising. Surely a goal is coming. Leif Davis into the area, and that's a relatively poor corner. I think it's time to go attacking. We've got to try and force something here. 13 shots, 2 of them on target. This is the game that we've been in more than anything. Leicester City are standing tall and playing with tremendous resilience. We have them on the ropes. In the 70th minute, we have a corner. Is this finally going to be the goal? Leif Davis is going to put it into the area. Into Wolfenden. It gets his head on it, but it's over the bar. Not the best of headers. We're going for it today. We really are. If we walk out of this and lose the match, I don't know what to say. And it's 2. I don't know if you can say that this match has been really well managed from Steve Cooper's perspective, in the fact that we've had a lot more chances than Leicester, but despite that, they have scored 2 of their goals, 2 of their chances. We need a striker, clearly. We haven't got the players who can finish. Okay, we have to go for it properly now. Sam Morsey apparently has had a bad day, but we're going to keep him on the field nevertheless as a leader. And it's rare I'd bring Schmodix off, but we're going to do that. We're going to bring Schmodix off. We're going to put... I mean, again, George Hurst is injured. That's unfortunate. We're going to put Liam Delap up front with Connor Chaplin. He's going to play as a complete forward. And on the wing, we're going to bring we're going to bring Harness on. I was going to say we're going to bring... in fact, why don't we put Al Hamadi up front? Doesn't that make more sense? Because Delap knows what he's doing up there, doesn't he? We're going to play him as a pressing forward, I think. Don't muck about running the defence. Be more direct. Get early crosses in. High press. High defensive line. We just got to go for it. Simple as. I think we just probably get those wingers to support the play. Because if you go on attacking, and it's just going to be all men going up. So we've made 3 subs. Can we make another one potentially? I'm going to bring Harry Clark on for Ben Johnson, who's not had the best day either. And change those players to complete wing backs. If we can't make something happen here, then something is very, very wrong. It's going to be Leif Davis with the corner. Into the area. Delap puts it back to Marcus Harness. Harness shoots just wide. 18 shots now. 18 shots for us. 10 minutes to go here at Portman Road. If the fans start leaving, I feel like the club haven't got the ambition to stay in the Premier League. It feels like Sheffield United last year, where they go, you know what, we're going to enjoy the ride and then come back into the Championship. If the club aren't going to invest in us, and the club is making a massive money. Our wages are 1/3 of anybody else in the Premier League. And that's just the lowest sides. So the TV deals, the sponsorship deals aren't great, but the TV deals, we're getting 1.3 million off a televised game. Give us the money we need to stay in the league. We've proved against Leicester today that we have what it takes to make the chances. We just haven't got the quality to finish them. Or am I speaking too soon? We're going to continue. Liam Delap, down the right-hand side. Can we put it into the box? Into Al Hamadi. Hermanson has got that one. We are at risk of conceding again, but it seems totally sensible to just go for it now. Jack Taylor, Delap. We have Leicester on the ropes, just can't finish. Al Hamadi puts it into the area. Connor Chaplin gets a goal back. 10 minutes to go here at Portman Road. As it says there, great play from Al Hamadi, but you know what? Great work from our 2 men in midfield, Sam Morsey and Jack Taylor, to win the ball. Great vision from Liam Delap to put the ball to Al Hamadi. Al Hamadi into the area. Connor Chaplin nods it in for his first goal in probably 7 or 8 matches. It's his first goal in the Premier League for at least 3 months. We have something to show for all of our attacking dominance. We're going to have to go very attacking now. Leif Davis is tired. Again, we haven't really got anybody suitable to bring on. Last roll of the dice. Amari Hutchinson. As a advanced playmaker. We're playing for set pieces. No, let's just leave it as it is. Has that changed it so Amari... No, it just hasn't changed it so Amari Hutchinson comes on. So let's try that again. Get the goalkeeper to support as well. It's all out attack. Very attacking. Just a few minutes to go here at Portman Road. You know what? Even if we can get a point, considering we're 2 goals down, that is going to give the players a lot of hope. We've only scored more than 1 on 1 occasion, and that was against Leicester, against Everton, and we conceded a number of goals there. We conceded 3. Again, 2.67 as an XG. We've absolutely dominated Leicester today. And I feel like as a match on Match of the Day, Shearer and Lineker and whoever else is on there is going to be going, well, Ipswich should have got something out of this. We're going to get to Cop. In fact, how long are we into this video? I don't want to make things too long. We're going to go for comprehensive highlights. But even that might not be enough. It's inevitable Leicester are going to have some of the ball because we're chucking everybody forward. But if you're not going to do that at this stage of the match, when are you? Delap wins the ball back. Axel to Anzabay. Do something with it. Move the ball. Wolfenden puts the ball to Amari Hutchinson. What can he do? He's got one last chat. Delap. Jack Taylor out to Harness. Into the area for Connor Chaplin. And it's offside. You can't do that and then be offside. Muric puts the ball over. It feels like he should have just took the risk to try and grab hold of that. Southampton have won at the Brentford Community Stadium. That's big as well. I've changed something. I thought we might have one more chance. But I've changed our opinions about some of our players today, you know. We put up a good fight. And isn't it amazing? I'm loving this series and that it's just creating stories. And the story is, we were unbelievable in creating chances today. We slaughtered Leicester. We had more shots, that's evidence enough. 20 compared to 12. Only had 5 of those on target. Had 14 corners. We saw a number of those on the highlights and did nothing with them. A match that was plagued by fouls to a degree. Leicester's defence played well, in fairness. Vestergaard with a 7.3 at centre-back. But they didn't do much going forward. That early goal, I just think, killed it. So, analytically, let's have a look. You can see that, well, you can see evidently that Leicester played with a controlled back four, but maybe that average was pushed up more as we went through it. So let's have a look at our highest XG chances, just out of interest. I mean, we had a lot of chances. A lot of those saved. Luke Wolfenden with a couple off target. But if you look at the shots that missed the target, we had a fair few. In terms of shots on target, Connor Chaplin was the main man. Tough to take that. Really tough to take because we should have got something there. In terms of the scores around the grounds, Southampton have beaten Brentford, which doesn't help us. Crucially, Palace and Wolves both lost. So that keeps us in touch. We're still only 5 points adrift. That's big. Fulham have got to play Everton. We'll see how Everton get on. Bournemouth have got to play Villa. Again, it's dangerous that we are hoping other teams are going to do something. Sammy Schmodix is carrying an injury. I'm going to say we were superb. Are we losing the dressing room now? I really can't say that. I really don't understand how the fans can say that was grim. That's the best performance we've had all season. For me. XG, definitely. 20 shots. We've not had that in any game. Not had that in any game at all. Ali Al-Hamadi was a bright spark. Definitely. I can't see why we're going to change the tactic. I don't see what works for us. We're not going to play... We're limited by the players we've got here. We can't go and play Gegenpress. We can't go and play Tiki-Taka. We'll just get murdered. Yeah, well. Confusing team talks. I'm confused. We've got a couple of tricky games to come as well. The press conference... I'll do that very quickly and then we'll see. We'll have a wrap-up if one is the last game. So we've got Sunday's matches, which aren't really of interest, but just for completion's sake, we'll skip to after Sunday's matches and then we'll do a wrap-up for today's episode. The weekend's football's over and the biggest shock is that Brighton have put 5 past Chelsea. James Milner scoring in the first minute, wow. But to take the focus off us would be ridiculous. We are still in dire straits. Fortunately, we've been helped out by Bournemouth, Wolves, Palace and Everton all losing this weekend. Forest haven't played. Man United and those haven't played. I can only assume because of a fixture clash or something in Europe that means that fixture's been moved out. But we've lost. But you can see, again, I said at the start of probably October that there was a trend. In that there was almost League 1 and League 2. That's almost turned into... I mean, I'm not going to look at the top half necessarily now, but you've got your solid mid-table side. Southampton, Leicester and Fulham have to be in that talk. And then there's 6 teams in a real dogfight at the bottom. But if you look at Forest and Everton, if they didn't have their points deductions, they wouldn't be there. I just feel like Palace, Wolves and even Bournemouth either sack their managers and get better replacements, or they spend money in January. The irony of it all, I've rejected it because what's the bloody point? I've been asked to go to an emergency recruitment meeting. The club won't give us any damn money to spend. Alright, we can put some sticky plasters on by going to sign Mark Albright and Stuart Armstrong. Good players, but not necessarily players that excel in the Premier League. It almost feels like a fait accompli. We've only scored 8 goals in the Premier League. That's joint with Wolves. Crucially, Wolves are a little bit tighter at the back. Although I'll say that, and they've conceded 4 in 2 of the last 4 games. But you get the point. They're a little bit tighter than us at the back. Barring that, we stand out like a sore thumb. I don't know if this is one step too far to go for the Premier League. I mean, if you look at our home record compared to our away record, we are better at home. Our goal difference is only 6 negative at home. 1 win, 6 defeats, including the one this episode, of course. Our away record's diabolical. Only 2 goals away from home and 19 conceded. We haven't had the batterings at home, I think. Albeit, I have said that we've had to play a lot of the top teams away from home. Look at that. We really thought that we could potentially kick on. I said the Southampton win came at the wrong time. Because we headed in some really tough fixtures. Maybe that Leicester result... Well, certainly the way we played against Leicester has got to give us a bit of hope. Not much, but a bit. I'll be back on Friday with at least a double header. We're going to play the Villa and Newcastle games off camera. Can't expect a lot, but we might get something. We're going to come back for Wolves and Bournemouth. More relegation 6 points. It's almost like part 3 of the relegation 6 pointers. And depending on where we are then, we will definitely see the game against Palace as well. If we end December without getting a couple of wins, I wouldn't be surprised if I wasn't sacked. The club have asked us to attempt to avoid relegation. We're certainly attempting to. We've got no damn money to do it. The supporters have said quite rightly they're disappointed with Muric. You're only as good as your defence, of course, but again, I mean, has he played in the Premier League before? Apparently he's a Man City player, which I didn't know originally after joining from Grasshoppers, but he's not been good enough. We just haven't got the money to strengthen. And there's only so much we can do tactically. I wonder if Ipswich in real life will have these struggles. It'd be interesting to see as we run in this series in parallel with Ipswich's Premier League season. But I said that game would be crucial. I think it probably is, but I'm going to try and keep things positive in that the next episode is going to be massive for us. Just think, at the end of that episode against Bournemouth, we'll have played 18 games, pretty much be halfway into the Premier League season. 40 points is the golden ticket to stay up. Even if we win 2 out of those 4, we're only going to be on 10. Looking at this, the way that FM works, annoyingly, all the clubs around us have got similar fixtures. So Bournemouth have got to play Wolves and Palace as well. Palace have got to play Wolves. We've all got to play each other. I mean, actually, look at Palace. Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth and Ipswich. You'd expect them to get something out of those games. Interestingly, Oliver Glasner's been sacked. He's been sacked. Is that the first managerial casualty of the season? If we go to manage movements, it is. So Crystal Palace have pulled the chain. I've seen that Allardyce wants the job. I think Allardyce would keep him up, wouldn't he? Going back to Palace. So the favourite for that job probably would be Allardyce in my eyes. If we look at managerial roles. For some reason it's not on there. Oh, it is. There you go. Matthias Almeida is the favourite for that. I'd give it Allardyce for goodness sake. Glasner's the favourite for some championship jobs to jump straight back in. It's been a disappointing time for Glasner. We're insecure in our job. So is Antonio Raiola, Gary O'Neill. Who's the other club? Well, yeah, Gary O'Neill. We're all uncomfortable in our jobs. Be interested to see who's Palace manager next time out. Fascinating, this relegation battle. But I think that we have been justified in our reason to play only one game today and one game in the last episode, because this is going to be a long one again. And unfortunately, the relegation 6-pointers have not gone our way. It's going to be difficult. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Football Manager content. It might not last much longer if we get the sack. But if we get the sack, I've got other ideas. Anyway, thank you for your company, and I'll see you again on Friday for some more relegation 6-pointers. Are we already out of it? Who knows? But we're going to keep battling until we can. And that's the end of the season. Or the club say, look, we're going to go in a different direction. Let's see. It's a load of fun nevertheless. And that balance just keeps going up and up and up. Come on, Ipswich. Stop being so tight. Get Ed Sheeran to do a couple of tours and then put some money in that way. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for your company. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.